podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to Scarlet's Fever, the home of Saucepan Central and Westerer is Besterer.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Scarlet's Fever podcast. Joining me, Big M, this evening is Gwion Dafydd, former chairman, current committee member for Newcastle Emlyn RFC. Good evening, Gwion. How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, Martin. How's it going over there?
Yeah, I'm all right. Probably stuck in the worst room in the house. I got a lot of flow coming behind me, as you might see now. So tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do with the club.
So my name is Gwion Dafydd. I've been on the committee basically since I moved back to the area. I was in Cardiff until about 2012, moved back to the area. I was on the committee then since about 2014-15. Just happy to do anything for the club really. As in my dad's been on the tannoy on the loudspeaker for years, for 20 years. So I'm learning the ropes there. So if he's not around, I'm the one up in the box these days. And yeah, I got on the committee then and became chairman then. I think what do you call it? Not a poison chalice, but I think that the prophet of doom. I got made chairman in September 19. And as you can imagine, by March 20, COVID hit. So I was chairman for 3 years and never got a full season, really, under my belt. So, no, back on the committee now. And yeah, as you say, happy to be in the club. I'm in charge of, the programme and the sponsorship side of things then for the club.
Well, that's brilliant. Anything you can do for the club. So I'm guessing we'll be hearing the Dafydd family voices for generations if you're up in Emlyn.
Well, you never know. Yeah. So dad's still around, still lives in the area. But yeah, I do tend to get up there. It's nice and warm up there as well. As in, you can imagine the recent weather. I think I could have about 20 people in the box these days. How cold it is outside. So no, it's nice and warm up there, and no, it's going well.
That's good to see. So let's talk about this past weekend. Dunfant at home, a good win. So what was the game like? Give me a quick rundown.
Well, I think that's the best first half I've seen all season, to be honest. And we were 35-0 up half time, bonus point in the bag, 5 tries, 5 different scorers by half time. And to be honest, Dunfant, I know Dunfant were struggling a bit with injuries as well, but the ruthlessness of the play was unbelievable to us, and it kept the crowd going. It's smallish crowd, as you can imagine. Start of January, it's a tough time for clubs to have games and stuff, but it really cheered up the crowd, and it felt a bit disappointing at the end. As in, we let Dunfant in for 4 tries in the second half, and they got a bonus point. As in, I think we always knew they wouldn't get within 7, but I think the fact that they got 4 tries, as in, although we scored 7 ourselves, it's just a bit, and we're pretty close together up in the upper mid table, as it were. But Stefan Evans at 10 was back to his best. The ball in 2 hands, Barry John style in the centre there, and Alex Williams, he's been playing hooker for a couple of years now, but he was back at 8 since a few games now, back at 8, and he's just had a new lease of life. So no, he's pumped some energy into that back row as well. But yeah, it was great to see, to be fair. And one other young player we've got in the Scarlets Academy, Max, the best surname I think we got in the club, Max Rodeloda. So he's at number 7. He's just come up, shot through in youth last year, shot through, and he had 2 tries the weekend before, 2 tries for his university in midweek, and then another great performance as well. So yeah, the back row. Once you've got a back row going, you can really drill into teams around the ruck and stuff. So that really put us a platform to play well. But yeah, 45-26, I think it was at the end. But yeah, great match, and hopefully we can carry on this week now as well.
So a 19-point win, and you're annoyed you land a few tries at the end. That's
I'm
ambition.
telling you, it was so that first half, we were buzzing half time. I think, the point is, because we got tough matches coming up, we took a few players off sub at half time and stuff just to keep them fresh and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'm sure a lot of teams have seen it, as in you're pretty comfortable, then you start investing a few players for the future weeks, and yeah, it's just something doesn't quite click then in that second half, and you I should have gone for a pint half time, left it there.
Sounds like a good plan, but don't know if that's going to be happening this weekend. You've got just a minor game this weekend. Crymych at home in your upper mid-table clash. I call it the battle for fourth, the way it stands in my mind.
Well, but, I was checking the table earlier, and so if we beat them, okay, if we get a bonus point win, we'll be equal points. But if we beat them, we'll be within 1 point with 2 games in hand. And that's a very nice place, because Crymych have been, they've been sneaking those wins all season. I think, I know a lot of Crymych boys. My wife's from that area as well. But I never go that far down. Although I'm moving house in the future down to that area, but I think I'll have to put the blinkers on and speed down to Emlyn every Saturday.
Tinted windows,
I'd be lynched down in Emlyn if I stopped in Crymych. But no, they've been, I think they'll admit themselves, that they came up in third last season. It was Llangennech, us and them, and I think they felt they might be the underdogs this year. But they've been winning those matches and just sneaking the wins. And while we've been losing by 1 or 2 points, they've been winning. So the gap's grown quite a bit. And they're going great guns. So I think we're pretty similar with regard to community and everything. 2 massive Welsh-speaking Derby teams. It's a great atmosphere every time. But we were supposed to play them before Christmas, but I think that they're jinxing us as well. As in, the only weekend that we had frost, we had to cancel that match, and now again this weekend, there's snow, ice. But I think we should. I haven't seen a committee pray so much for rain in years, but we're praying for rain over the next 24 hours, because I think we'll be all right. The weather forecast's okay, but we've got 14 tables booked in for a big sponsor match, big game, big crowd expected. So it'll be gutting if we have to cancel again, but it looks promising. And I think it's time now. It's time. We're up for this one, and with that. With that incentive of just getting that close to them for the season run in, I think it's going to be a good one this Saturday. Come down for a spin.
Can I get a prediction?
Well, from me, the committee member for Emlyn, but no.
No. No. Terrible. Bloody terrible. Okay, well, we've moved past last week and this week. So tell me a bit more about the club. What sort of facilities are there? If we decide to come and play or have a look around Newcastle Emlyn, what have the club got to offer for its players?
So again, well, since I moved back, as in everything's moved down now to pitch side basically. We used to have the clubhouse on the bridge there. And you have to walk quite a length on the pavement to see the pitch, and the clubhouse is down by the pitch. But now everything's moved down there since about 2011. So we got four changing rooms block and like a long room above. So that's been there for a few years. And as I say, since 2011, we got a massive function room. I don't know if you've been to the Royal Welsh recently, Martin, but in the Charolais in the Royal Welsh, they got like a brick wall of, you can sponsor a brick, as in. So we got this very similar thing up there, where it's very impressive, like a pyramid of bricks, basically, mostly local people buying sponsored bricks that again feeds the club again. Great bar, the emblem is all over the place. nicely done, as in, I know Kevin Thomas, a local businessman with the windows and stuff, he was essential in getting that clubhouse going, and it's an impressive building in itself. And then massive car park, so for weddings and stuff, we got a license for the wedding and for the parties as well, afterwards. There's a massive car park, plenty of parking. The thirds pitch is just in front of the clubhouse, and then you're down then to another 2 pitches, floodlights and everything. The stadium, sorry, I said that.
It is what it is. You could call it a stadium.
The main stand, we got, the seating came from the old Downs Park, as in I remember when it was taken down in 98, 99. So we got a chunk of the seating. So that's the main stand. I think is about 200. I can't remember now with regard to seating. There's the tannoy system, as I was talking to earlier. But 3 pitches with a hub as well. Community hub, giving blood. Vaccines. Just flew now, as in it's calmed down a bit, isn't it? But there's a club choir, male voice choir there. Even the Alzheimer's support, prostate support, the local charities, they meet there as well. And also, I'm not sure if many clubs can stage, their own annual dinner in the clubhouse itself, and we're lucky enough to have plenty of room for that then every May. So plenty around, YFC dances, everything you can think of in West Wales, we've got it down there anyway, Martin. So it'll be a pleasure to get you down now. I'm not sure if you're busy for the rest of the season, but make sure you get down. Yeah,
I'll have to make a special effort to come down one game. I've been roped in now, haven't I? No, it sounds like you've got quite a lot going on, and you really are central to the community with all the charity and all the blood drives, etc., etc. So it's obviously great hearing that our rugby clubs are still a major part of our community. So what about in the future? Are there any plans, any developments coming down the line that we can look forward to?
Well, one thing we are looking into, it's early stages yet, but to get some planning and to get like a training barn, a real, it's, you can imagine how wet it is. We're right by the river, when the river floods, it floods. We've had tackle bags turning up in Cardigan, stuff like that. But yeah, that's not a joke, ironically. But so getting a training barn, as in we got a bit of space, up the top. We got a little gym in the back, but we got a bit of.
You mentioned the gym in the facilities. That's a massive part for players.
It is. So getting an all-weather barn, that's that's been on the radar for a while. But we're in touch with Cardigan Council and stuff like that, just to get the ball rolling to see what's possible. But ideally, for the minis and juniors, as well as in. Yeah. Every Thursday or Wednesday with the girls as well, as in if it's like last night, frozen solid, or where it's usually so wet, it's not nice to play in that weather and stuff. So to get something like that would really boost participation as well, I think. So we'll see how it goes, but it's looking slightly promising. Yeah.
Okay. So we've touched a bit on last week and this week in terms of games. So, your season so far, like obviously you came up in second alongside Crymych, Llangenech. So, how's it gone so far for you? Have you hit your expectations? Were you hoping for more? How's it turned out so far?
I think overall, we thought, when you hear about top 5 going up, you think, well, yeah, but that's the aim, You got Narberth, Brecon, Llangenech maybe, and it has turned out like that, as in they look at like just a class above really when we've played them, as in they look as solid outfit, all 3 of them. Afterwards, then you've got like 4 or 5 of us vying for those 2, 4th and 5th, and I think that's where we hope to be, and it's. Overall, I think it's worked out, pretty as we thought, really. I think we've lost a couple of games we should have won, which would have made the table look a bit healthier at this time. But yeah, overall, we can't complain really. It looks okay. But we're in the mix for that top 5, and I think that's where we wanted to be, and hopefully we'll do it as well.
Well, I've had a look at the table, gone through your results so far this season, and you've only played 4 games at home, and you've won 3 of them. So you're building yourself quite a fortress. 10 or so games to go, and you got 7 of them at home. So that's major coming into the second end of the season.
And yeah, and well, now this might be jinxing it as well, but because Brecon and Narberth have been postponed with us, as in Brecon just before Christmas, and Narberth, well, they were supposed to play a cup game this weekend, so that's why that's been postponed. So they're both going to be played right at the end of the season, like 6th and 13th of April. Now, not saying, not counting our chickens, but that they would probably be up by then. So as in it might play out, okay for us, but as in we have to we have to make our move before then, of course. As in on a normal season you'd expect to lose those 2 maybe, because Narberth are so I think Brecon, and I'm not sure if they've done what we thought they'd do, as in they haven't absolutely hammered teams. Narberth have put a few big scores up, Brecon, I don't know, they're thereabouts obviously, but Llangenach has started motoring now as well.
Oh.
As in, we've got them away, week after next week as well. But yeah, apart from that, it's such a good league, as in last year we felt so many games got cancelled and just weren't played basically because teams were struggling. Teams were pulling out. There wasn't any penalty for cancelling games and stuff, so we felt we were a bit in limbo. And a few of our home games were cancelled as well because we were probably the furthest away for a few of the teams, and they didn't come. They didn't come in the end. But this year, it's really competitive league. As in, I know there's been a few hammerings now and again. They seem to be a bit, bit of a rarity really. But apart from that, as in, we've got some crackers, and close games, just sneaking wins, just not clicking and shooting ourselves in the foot, stuff like that. So it looks a really good league, and well, hopefully, if we can make top 5, as in looking, it'll be a massively tough league next year, but hopefully we'll be in the mix anyway.
Oh, happy days. So if I rock up on Saturday now, I get to the club gate. How much is it going to cost me to get in to watch a game?
For you, Martin, just have a word with me. It's all right. So we're £6 for adults, £4 for pensioners. I was on the gate last week actually, and the amount of people I had to pretend that I thought they should be paying £6 was funny. You don't want to offend anyone. So £6, please. No. Oh, I didn't want to say. But and anyone under 16s then in for free, no problem. And yeah, we just like to get them through the gates. There's a program you've got. I thought I'd preempt your next question maybe, but the match day program, obviously with the team sheet and stuff, that's like an insert, a paper insert. But we have a proper sponsors booklet then.
Oh, nice.
So 64 pager, and 64 pages, and we can probably make about £6,000 or £7,000 just by selling adverts for the season. So we print about 1,500 of those off at the start of the season then, and just slip the insert and give it out. And that's there's so many supportive businesses around Emlyn, even a bit further. You've got very good businesses within Emlyn and in the surrounding areas. They're more than happy to pay £50 or £100 for a full page or whatever, and I fill it quite easily. But and we get Gomer then in Llandysil. So they print them off for us, and they chuck in 50 posters then for the fixtures every year for free, and I put those around the businesses in town and stuff, and the pubs, and it gets the local area involved, and I don't know if they look forward to getting me around June asking them for money, but a poster usually softens the blow a bit for them, to be fair.
But yeah, no, I always ask for a program. I love the clubs that still have their paper programs. They still give them with entry. It's a major part of it for me. It's part of the experience. Especially when I was a kid growing up, my grandfather always took me to games. Pay a couple of quid entry. I'm surprised that you were still £6 in the championship. That's unreal value. And
I think I was up in Crymych. I remember, I forgot this was going out public. I was up in Crymych the other week because I got an invite from their sponsors, but we were away, so Port Albert was too far for me, so I went up to Crymych instead. But I think it was the same there, £6, £4, I think, something like that. But so I'm not sure about further east or down in Aberth or whatever, but I think £6 was what we had when we were in the championship last. So we came down a league. We didn't put it down to £5, as in £6 is when you're on the gate, it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, you've got to give the change.
It is a bit of a pain, but no, it's cheap. For 90 minutes of great quality. As in, to be honest, I'd rather watch Newcastle Emlyn play than any of the regions at the moment. To be honest, it's because you know the players and you get a feel for the club, and I don't know, the noise might be bigger in a little stand in Newcastle Emlyn than it is in half-empty stadium elsewhere. So it's a great day out, and I'm trying to sell it now. But yeah, I see you down soon, Martin.
Happy days. No, you don't have to sell it. Me and one of the boys on your hill, Cat Boy, we started calling him now. I won't go into that, but it's something different. But I know we've been following the Quins as much as we can. The Premier Team. We know Llandovery are awesome. They're going for it. So we've thrown a lot in with the Quins, and when we got to see him last Thursday, it was bloody outstanding watching that game, and the quality was unreal. I mean, the standards coming below.
Yeah.
That gap isn't what people always think it is. I mean, I know they're moving on with this EDC stuff, but this, if you play it the right way, it's amazing what you can do.
Yeah.
Less of that. So we've gone through all your seniors. We know what you got on offer. Let's talk about your mini and juniors. So what do your minis and juniors look like? Do you have a full section, or have you got bits and pieces?
No, full set. Yeah. So under 7s, under 8s are together usually, because when you start, if you can't really start with an under 7s, because you have to be 6, so it's a bit awkward that year. But yeah, from there then and all the way up then to under 16s and to the youth and what have you. At least 2 coaches for every team and a manager as well, because of DBSs and this kind of stuff. As in, a manager is pretty essential these days, we find. As in, there's so much nitty-gritty and contacting parents and getting the consent forms for videos and photos. It's a bit more of a hassle than it used to be. So but volunteer-wise, as in, we can't complain at all. As in, it's been great. The chairman, treasurer as well, secretary for the minis and junior section. We've got the Wiberod then. So the Wiberod is technically it's not our girls section. It's a hub. It's a local hub, but it's been held with us in Newcastle Emlyn for since the start, really, for years. So yeah, the Wiberod is the name is pretty linked to Newcastle Emlyn anyway. If you knew your Newcastle Emlyn history, Martin, the Wiber was the monster that encircled the castle and poisoned the river when it died, and the blood flew down the Teifi and that kind of stuff. So yes, there's a bit of mythological magic to Newcastle Emlyn. The castle, you can see the castle from the club. It's right next door, but well, if you can swim. So the Wiberod have been there for years. So the Wiberod train on a Wednesday, I think, these days, and all the minis and juniors then train on the Thursday. And then the seniors and the youth then train on the Tuesday and the Thursday. The ladies team, they started last year, but they, after 1 year, they were in the National League. So they've been in the league since September. So they play on Sundays. Again, it's tough, because we're in the National League, as in we're in with, people like Porthcawl and Morriston, they're pretty far away, as in, so if there's late cancellations and that kind of thing, it's a bit of a pain. But I think those are the bumps I think the ladies teams are going to have to deal with for a few years, I think, until a few more teams pop up and get going. But yeah, it's great that they're still involved and going well. So yeah, hopefully it'll carry on for years. And as in, we had a ladies team back in the 90s. They stopped for a while, and now the interest is back, and we got, I don't know, 25, 30 on the books again straight away. So yeah, hopefully we can stick with it again now.
Not far off a second women team with those numbers, but you're awesome. Fair play.
Yeah.
No,
I know, fair play. Yeah.
You touched on it yourself there. You've got the youth team running. So where your youth are concerned, obviously when they're playing, how do you transition? You know, what's your internal player pathway? Is your plan on guiding your youth through to the seniors, straight to the first, or do you have a seconds that you really guide them in nice and smooth?
Yeah, I think, since they've changed to under 18s, it's tough, especially for maybe the youth forwards, especially, as in just to jump from youth straight to seconds. It is tough. We have, we've got a strong seconds team. Again, it's hit or miss with fixtures, and then our boys are keen to play every match, but it doesn't always work out like that. So again, it's keeping that interest. So if you get a bad year, as in they just lose interest, or they'll look for maybe a neighbouring club that are in the league. That's the issue. As in, hopefully, I know the WRA were looking again at getting seconds teams into the National League. I know there's a bit of hoo-ha about we won't go into politics and stuff like that, but as in, I can, because our seconds are, because we're quite isolated, as in we're not in the middle of, the east, like Cardiff, the valleys and stuff like that. We're not going to take anyone's players, and I think that's the main sticking point. I think the WRA are worried about, that the seconds teams will nick players from the firsts of neighbouring teams, and the firsts will die in those teams. But again, Newcastle Emlyn is slightly, pretty unique, as in we're far from everywhere, and that's not probably going to happen. As in, even our firsts, I say like 80-90% have come through the youth, as in the local boys. So hopefully, I know the youth this year now, they had a sticky start. They're getting their confidence back now. A new coaching team as well there. They're getting their feet under them now. I think I'm right in saying that they're like slightly bottom heavy, so they won't lose a lot of youth next year. So hopefully that'll be a bit of continuity. But again, our firsts, I'd say, so you're looking at our firsts back line. 5 of those were in the same youth team, like 10 years ago. So that youth team was incredibly strong. They all came up together. They all nearly started, just before we got into the championship. They all started playing together, and that's what's pushed it up into the championship in the first place. But the problem is, obviously, they're all now about 30. So in a few years' time, they're all going to leave at the same time as well, which is always a risk. So blooding new youngsters. But although, on the other hand, I think a back line is easier to fix than the forwards. I know we've got a lighter pack this year, I think, and that's where we're maybe, if we are struggling in a few games, that's where we'd struggle in the pack, maybe, because it's a young pack. With a few old heads like Di Pasties and Alex and those boys, but it's going to be. But we wouldn't rather. I think we're aiming for the, for promotion this year, and there's no point saying, oh, we're safer staying as we are. As in, what's the point of that? The boys want to play at a higher level. Why not give it a go? Whatever happens. But that's where we want to be in the championship last year. I know it's Championship West now, but in the championship last time, we stayed there for 4 years, held our own. I think we were probably maybe favourites to go down every year, maybe, but held our own, and mid-table jobs against Pontypools and these guys. And to be fair, Trebanos and Tata, they were up there back then. I know they're struggling a bit now in the league with us, but it's peaks and troughs in rugby, isn't it? Especially at lower league, as in you get the luck of the draw maybe with a strong youth, as we did a few years ago. But it's peaks and troughs, and hopefully we can keep it going anyway.
No, that's the exact attitude to have. Why not? Let's go for it. And when you've got someone like Di Pasties in your squad, you've got to be going for the top, the elite level. You can't keep him undercover for the rest of his life.
I know. I think Di now is on the coaching staff, and I think that's continuity within the club. As in, Mark Lloyd was with us for years, through the championship years. He was the head coach. So he left 2 years ago. So Charles Gale is there now, who was assistant to Mark at the time. You've got Stefan Evans, who plays 10. So what is he? He's just had his 30th, I think, or 29-year-old backs coach. You've got Dai Pastizan. Now then, don't want to insult him. I think, is he 33, 34? That might be being nice today, I'm not sure. But he's forwards coach. You've got Sean Edwards. He's in his 20s as skills coach. It's a young coaching squad as well, and again, local boys. And since they want to stick around, as in why not? As in it's great having them on board, and yeah, it's there's continuity there, and robustness really, isn't it? It's a steady way of doing things, I think.
That's, you're answering questions. I'm not even asking. Your coaching setup. That's brilliant. I'm loving it. Let's talk about some of the. Obviously, we all know the likes of Gareth Davies and Scott Williams. I think Gareth Thomas as well, as he's come through Newcastle Emlyn.
I think Scott and Gareth, were the main two, as in Gareth's still there. Fair play, he's come back. He went for a bit, but he's now back, and before the World Cup, he was back to his best. To be honest, then Josh Turnbull, Cardiff captain for a few years, and he's and he was coaching with us, a few years ago. I know he's in Quins now, isn't he? So, but he was coaching with us. The amount of experience he brought to the coach. The boys loved having him around. Just I think a bit of the gravitas of having a blues player or Cardiff. I don't know what I'm supposed to say now.
Call him a blues. Everyone outside Cardiff calls him a blues. Winds him up as well. It's brilliant.
Exactly. And yeah, as you say, Gareth Thomas, I think he's come later than usual, as you do as in front row, but and he's around town, his wife, not his wife, his mother runs the women's shop in Newcastle Emlyn. Better give Maynard a shout, Adida J in Newcastle Emlyn. So, and his cousin then is Steph, who plays prop for the Scarlets, so Steph has come through the ranks as well. You've got Oshan Davies then as well, who's in Llandyfri.
He's a talented
yeah, so he was playing with us he played I think one of the last his father played back in the day, in the 2000s. His father, and I'm sure he shared a field with his father when he was like 17 or something. His father was just coming to the end of his career, so both of them played for Emlyn at one point. But he's been hit in the gym. He looks, it's ridiculous, as in, what is he? Is he mid-20s by now? He seems to have grown so much, as in, I know you can grow wider going into the gym, but he seems to have gotten taller as well. So he looks a beast at the moment as well. And to be fair, Sinead Harris is a Newcastle Emlyn, I know, down in Whitland from Abereiron herself. And Ellie Tromans now is again under 18s women's. Playing in the centre. I think he scored a few tries out in Canada over the summer. So there's the girls as well are coming through slowly as well, which is great to see, to be fair.
So these are all the current and well, nearing the end of their career then for some of them. Let's say.
I'd rather you say that, Martin.
Possibly within 3 years, within 5 years, I'll be generous. So. What about future talents coming out? You've already mentioned Max Rodaloda. I can't believe I missed him on my list. Look at it. You've had Harry Fuller with you this season, and a rather young one. You've got Thomas Evans, who's in the under-16s, but he's been selected for the Scarlet 18s. So, a centre that he is. That's a great going at that age.
Well, that is huge, to be honest. And to be honest, because I'm not a father of someone of that age, that's when you get into the minis and juniors, and you see these boys coming through. But I know Harry Fuller. He's come to us this season, as in he's not a project with us. To be fair, unless I take some praise that I shouldn't. But yeah, Tom Moss has been, to get into an under-18s team when you're basically under 16 is pretty special. So hopefully he can go from strength to strength. Stefan Evans as well was in the academy. He's we've got two Steffan Evans, just not to confuse. He's not the 30-year-old one, but Steffan Evans, and basically his mother, Nerys, is the bar manager, is the club manager for us. So and does an amazing job as well, to be fair. So I thought I'd give Nerys a mention. But yeah, Steffan Evans has come through. He's had a couple of injuries this season, to be fair to him, because he's just come up through the academy. So he's like 18, 19, I think. So he's just started playing for the seniors when he's fit, obviously. I think another one that
Gwion Jones, I've got a name.
Who was?
Gwion Jones, I've got another one who was with the Scarlets 18s last season.
Gwion Jones was in there. I think he's on permit in Aberaeron now. I think for now, hopefully he'll come back. But his father used to play for us, number 9. I think he played for Quins as well. Emyr Jones. And he played for Llanelli as well, I think. So Emyr is still in the club on the committee as well, involved with the minis and juniors. But I think one name that might be good to keep an eye on is Caio James. Now he was in the mix in the academy, but he's gone to Hartpury.
Yeah.
He's played Hartpury's under 18s. He's captained Gloucester under 18s and scored a try against Quins the other day. He's in the under 18s Welsh squad as well, the training squad. So I think he might, and well, as some may know, David Jenkins was a former Hartpury boy, wasn't he? And he's the youngest captain since Gareth Edwards, I think, the second youngest. So I don't know, Caio James, he might be one to look out for in future, and we're keeping an eye on him certainly. But I was in the same year as his father in school, which really makes me feel old now. But yeah, so Caio is certainly one to look out for as well in future.
So every single player has more or less got a sibling, and not a sibling, a relative or father who's played once before. That seems like this is the makeup of the club.
Oh, yeah, you're right there. And it's one of the really nice things about Emlyn is, I'm a Welsh speaker myself, first language, and it's I would hazard a guess, probably if 90%, 95 maybe of those in the clubhouse on a Saturday would speak Welsh, as in maybe not first language, but they'd certainly be fluent in it. And I think that's something that's grown. I don't know if it's since COVID or something, or since people started socializing again. And I know the Welsh language has been Wrexham and stuff like that. It's all feeding into the Welsh language experience at the moment. But you just hear diolch or doi beint please, these small things by the bar, and I think everybody's making maybe just a slightly more of an effort these days, and it just brings a smile to your face, And I think the Welshness of Newcastle Emlyn Rugby Club is something that's really drawn me in, as in it's great just to go out on a Saturday. And I sometimes go to the match, leave the match, and I won't speak in English at all. It's that ingrained in the local area, to be honest. So it brings a smile to the face, to be honest. Yeah, it's great.
That's brilliant to hear, especially with everything going on with the Welsh language. pushing it for that million speakers. I'm not in that category yet. I am slowly learning. I've got my I've got my little language app on my phone. I am trying. So maybe
keep going, Dalati.
So we've spoke about so much about the club that I think I already know why you love it so much, but why Newcastle Emlyn for you? What makes it so special to you?
Well, although I was born in Wrexham, ironically, speaking about them earlier, but my mother came from Pembrokeshire, North Pembrokeshire, so we moved down in '84 when I was about 4. I was in the Newcastle Emlyn Ebbw Vale game in '97, and I think I was actually just Googling that just before I came to speak to you, and there's an 8-minute, on Hyn or Pnawn Da, the Welsh language magazine programs, and there's like an 8-minute section of that, with people like Simon Thomas, who he's down in Pembrokeshire now, but he's big in the Royal Welsh and stuff, and he's talking, as probably a fresh-faced, 20-year-old or something, and it just took me back to that match, and going to Hooker's nightclub as it was. It's gone now. A lot of people will be glad to hear. But going there after the match, and Kingsley Jones and Byron Hayward and those boys were there drinking and enjoying themselves, and that was in the old clubhouse. But since moving to Cardiff then, and maybe losing touch. The only rugby I saw then was I might go and see Cardiff or the Blues play, but mostly Scarlets on telly and stuff when they were pretty good to watch. But since coming back, as I mentioned earlier, I'd rather go down to Newcastle Emlyn. So I live probably about 20 minutes away in a car now, up in Talgarreg in even deepest West Wales. So it's it's a trek. As I used to walk down to the club, but now I have to make the effort to drive. But going down there and just I wasn't in the youth or anything. I played minis and juniors with the famous Wyn Leeds was running everything back then, Wyn Thomas. But going through that and not going to the youth, I don't think it might put my comments in a bit of context that I might not know what I'm talking about. But as my wife would say, but going back there then, 10 years ago, and going back and maybe back on the tannoy, and taking over from my dad and stuff. But I tell you the one thing that really influenced me and really made me feel like it was part of a local close-knit community was when I moved back. My mother had cancer and she was ill, so she died quite soon after I moved back home. And when you get your cards and flowers and stuff, so the one card that I really shed a tear was one from the rugby club, and all the boys from the squad had signed it because Mum was a real massive fan down there. I'm not sure the refs would agree, but she was really into rugby. And I think that really touched me. And I think since that point, it's been there's been a connection that's deeper than I thought it would go, basically. But yeah, I've never thanked the boys for that, but that was a pretty nice touch.
I'm sorry to hear about your mother, but that's absolutely amazing to come from the club. I mean, you're going to be choking up a little bit by you now. That's just amazing. So that's quite a lot we've gone through now. So let's get on to some of the serious stuff. I want a pint in the clubhouse. How much is it going to set me back?
Now then, I was talking to a few Lampeter boys, and they said they had like a membership card that would give them money off and stuff like that. Well, we haven't got any of that faff down in Newcastle Emlyn. We're true currencies down there. We take anything you got, basically. But so at the moment, and as you can expect, prices going up, etc. But Guinness is £4.50, which is pretty good, basically, for a Guinness around that area. We got the posh lager. What's the posh lager now in rugby clubs, Martin? What is it?
Posh lager. Is that Colin?
No. It's Madri. Madri is the posh lager.
Madri, oh.
Yeah. Now
foreign lager. Lovely.
So a Madri is £4.30, and then your Carling, if you fancy a pint, if you don't want to taste anything, is £4. So any lager cider £4, Worthy is £4. And one thing, as a bit of I like my bitter, but Worthy, it's a safe bet, Worthy, if you're out all day. But if you want to fancy a change, I've been going to the local breweries, and well, a bit further afield than local maybe. But we got 2 kegs of Moose Piws, Purple Moose, coming down on Saturday. So they have a brewery in Porthmadog, and they got a elderflower beer and stuff. So it's really lovely stuff. So that's about £4 a pint if you want to taste something. So we got and a couple of other breweries, more local. Then we get Mantle in. Mantle is in Cardigan. So we got Moho and Cwrw Teifi there. You got Bluestone Brewery then down in North Thames. So you got your Rock Hopper and stuff like that. So yeah, we try and get especially when we've got big games. It's a risk, isn't it? If you buy a keg of 70 pints, if you tap it, you have to sell it, because we're not open maybe all week every day. It's we have to try and sell it all in one day. So yeah, since we know Crymych are coming, we should be all right. So we got 2 kegs coming on Saturday from Moose Piws. But yeah, for the big games, we've got Nabeth coming up now, and Brecon end of season. We'll have a couple of guest ales from different local breweries. But yeah, pretty reasonable. £4.50 is the going rate, I think, these days, to be fair. I remember the days of £2 pints and stuff, but yeah, that's long gone, unfortunately. So yeah, but and the Neris keeps the bar so well. It's everything tastes good. We'll say it like that.
a nice clean pint there. No, that'll be honest, that's a brilliant thing to do. Every big game, get a new drink in. That's awesome. That's a brilliant experience to have.
Yeah.
Really love that.
And so, someone like like Purple Moose, as in fair play to them. I said, fancy 2 kegs just to see what goes. They sent 2 kegs down. They sent 12 glasses down. They sent a box of 12 samples. So I'm not sure anyone else on the committee saw those, but they were all nice. And
I'll edit that out for you.
and a little Purple Moose teddy and a bottle opener. They really, they threw the boat out, and fair play. As in, we'll keep going back to them. As in, if you just send a few samples, and fair play to them. So no, I'm very impressed with them. So yeah, those are the go-to guys at the moment. So if any other breweries want to send me some freebies, you've got an easy way into the club that way.
So if you need an extra clubhouse on your register, message Gwion, send him a teddy and a sample. You'll be banging there. That's all you need to know. Let's put some players to shame by you then. So who's the worst dressed in the club?
Now this was a tough one, as in, you've got your usually socials and stuff like that, and you've got some very dubious outfits. I remember Oshan Davis. Now I was talking about earlier. They went. Where did they go? They went on a pre-season tour to somewhere. I think it was up in Liverpool, and he was wearing one of those wrestling outfits. That was more revealing than it should be, really. But I tell you, who. Now then, Chris Jones now is our secretary. He's on the WRU board. I'm sure he wears the same red jumper every week. See, when he's around, this big red jumper, like full on neck, like that. Best dressed, I call him, Chris. Fair play. But maybe Dan Bach, our winger. He every wedding he seems to be in, he seems like a slightly different suit. And he's the most dapper, I'd say, at the moment, to be honest. And worst dressed, I'm not sure, to be honest. There's a few candidates, but I don't think I'd be able to pinpoint anyone particular, Martin. Sorry to disappoint you with that question.
Oh no! So we just know Newcastle Emlyn has a bad dress sense. There's so many contenders. What I'm going to take away.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, let's think. What else? Who's the first one to leave a club on a Saturday? Which player comes in, says hello, and then he's gone before you notice?
No, the thing is, there's a few. I'm a slightly new father myself, so I'm one of those culprits at the moment. As in, basically my wife's scanning sheep this weekend. So the Crymych match, it's a bit, because this has been rearranged. I didn't expect this, so it's bad timing. But basically, I'll be going to the match on the tannoy, greeting the sponsors table, and then straight after, I might sneak 1 pint in, but I'll have to go and relieve my mother-in-law of little Martha, to be honest. But so I'm one of the first to leave, and there's a few new fathers in the mix now. Alex is in there, Llyr Jones, the winger, Stefan now is going to be a father in June. So I think and again, these are, Llyr, Steph, these boys are those youth players I was talking about earlier. They've just come up to 30, so I think they should be more sensible these days, but I'm not sure either. I'll tell you one of the first in there, and maybe the last to leave, is Nose. Now the Nose is mid-70s. He used to play for the club, as he tells me every time he sees me. He was played for the club back in '77 when we started. He was a hardened, coal miner down the pits, as in hard as nails. And he's still going on away trips on the bus with the players. I think they pick him up in a bunch of bits in the middle of town about, 11:30 or something, and then he's off with them for the day then, and enjoys himself. And I'm not sure if he drinks beer. Actually, he's always on the whiskies and stuff like that, and he's a hero around town. Yes, yeah. But he's usually one of the first in there, and he's a big supporter of the club. There at nearly every game, and fair play. He's past his peak, as we say, but he's still any excuse to get on the bus with the boys and support them away. I think he's probably our most he's the most away matches. He's there nearly every time. I'm sure he is.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. Well, Gwion, thank you so much. You've given us so much info into Newcastle Emlyn, massive insight into the club, and what an amazing place it sounds like. So I'm hoping many people get to listen to your amazing words about your club, and maybe we can get a few people through the turnstiles for you on Saturday. Thank you so much, Gwion.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks for the invite. Nice to talk to you. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch.
Thank you for listening to the Scarlet's Fever podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps us spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.